So this morning, this is what I've woken up to. A whole bunch of these fish are dead. They were in the 40-gallon setup for not even 24 hours, 10 hours. I was doing this late last night when I put them in there, like 9-10 o'clock at night. And now it's, first thing in the morning. I'm coming down here to do, quick feeding. Wasn't planning on feeding these guys anyway, being in such a small tank. Maybe a quick little sprinkle, but not a standard feeding. And the majority of all the fish are dead. These 5 are dead. The roseline shark is missing. I don't know if he got sucked up into the FX6, or he jumped and I just can't find him. At least not yet. The 2 big plecos and the leaf fish are alive and seem to be doing fine. The leaf fish is about 10 years old, so I'm surprised he's that tough. The catfish, I get, they're tough as nails, but it's a real shame that Synodontis is about 10 years old. The loach, I rescued him. I don't know how old he actually is, but I've had him for a year now. This royal pleco, I've had for a year as well. And these severums are about 3 to 4 years old. And just to give you, a size comparison, he's 8 inches tip to tail. Seven inches. These are decent sized fish that I've been growing out in the 90-gallon to eventually go into the 150. It's just such a bummer. I don't know what I did here. Well, now there's no rush to tear down this fish room and get these tanks back up when majority of everything that you really liked is dead. Yeah, so today's not really much of a fun video. All those fish passed away or who's missing, so assume dead. Pretty sure sucked up into the filter. Also lost the African mud skipper, which, he can breathe there, so I don't understand what's going on. The pufferfish, night goby, and the Florida flagfish are totally fine. Everybody's now been moved into the rack. Super hard to see these guys with the dark background of these tanks, but the giant plecos in there, this albino pleco's in there, so is the leaf fish. In the other tank we do have the puffer, and everybody else hanging out in there. The puffer and everybody who's in the brackish water tank, it was so lightly brackish. I don't know if it was considered brackish at this point, but doing a drip acclimation for these guys on fresh water to get them into one of these tanks until I figure out what to do, because this is just total disaster in the fish room. This went from a quick swap just to take out one of these metal racks, move a couple fish around, to devastation. I don't totally understand what I did, because you get imported fish from places, fish stay in bags for days without air stones in transit, crazy temperature fluctuations. Here I moved the fish about 4 feet over, 5 feet, used all the same water, even put driftwood in a lot of the plant matter in to carry good biological bacteria. And I moved over a fully cycled FX6 as well. The only thing I can think of is I can't find the roseline shark at the moment, so I'm thinking he's got to be sucked up into the filter, and maybe him getting shredded in the filter caused something, but the water is not cloudy. Even one dead fish in a tank. I mean, we've all had dead fish in the tank, and sometimes they sit there all night. Shouldn't have caused an issue. Legitimately, the fish were finally in there maybe 10 o'clock at night. I was back down there by 8:30, 9 a.m., so not even a long period of time. So I don't know what happened. Again, lost the African mud skipper as well, and so far these guys are doing well in the tank. I didn't catch it on video, but the day progressively got worse. I came back down after doing some cleaning, trying to clean up the place, and the leaf fish was missing. Couldn't find him. He jumped out of the tank, and I found him behind the stand. I don't have any footage of him yet because, just haven't filmed him. And when I was trying to find him, I didn't feel like trying to film it. It was more important to find the fish and find out what's going on. But he is badly damaged. One of his eyes are all clouded over. I don't know how long he was out of the water for. Maybe 2 hours, because I was in and out of there all day dealing with stuff down there. So he's beat up pretty bad, and now he is at the bottom tank in the 40-gallon by himself with a few of the little live bearers that are down there. And then before the day was completely done, the large pleco jumped out as well. Again, no lid on one of these tanks, but he did jump into another tank next to it, one of the little 2 gallons, crashed through the lid on that tank and into there with the high fin variatus. And I don't know if they were just shock of a ginormous fish jumping in, but I have to look again. But there's at least 2 dead fish in there now. So I think either just a shock of a giant fish crashing in, or because when he thrashes with all his spines, he legitimately kicked the crap out of them. So I lost those guys as well. So I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing in the fish room now. The 90-gallon can't get set up unless I go buy, a $200 stand, or build a stand, or find something else to put this tank on, because I'm not going to risk it going on to this stand if it's warped. The 150 is probably my best option just to get it up and running. To do the bulkheads and a couple pieces of plumbing, worst case, $100. The bulkheads are pretty cheap. And then I have to replace that one pane of glass in the sump, or bend it back in place and, silicone the crap out of it. Honestly, don't even need it. Don't have to have the baffles, just somewhere to store some of the extra water. The pads will do what they need to do. So, it's not the end of the world if I don't even use that last baffle. Or if it's perfect, it's a sump anyway for a freshwater tank. Here is some footage of the leaf fish after I got him back into the tank. I don't know how well you guys can see it. He was a little bloody when I had him, obviously in the water or not, but you can see the eye is clouded over. His skin is pretty raw. I might consider doing a medicated bath on him. I'm not 100% sure what I would use or what I'm going to do there, but I got him back in the tank, and this is a couple hours later. He's sitting upright, he does swim around and moves around on his own. So for a almost 10-year-old fish, I think maybe even a little older, he might be creeping 11. He's doing okay. The albino pleco legitimately doesn't move. He didn't move in the 90-gallon, doesn't move in this tank. And it's going to be so hard to see in here, but this is the tank that the large pleco crashed into and is causing mayhem in there. So I have to reach in and pull him out and see, try to do a head count at some point. But you can barely see him between all the stuff he stirred up. It is a sand bottom tank in there. And he is legitimately the length of the tank, so every little movement he makes stirs up everything. yeah, so I just don't understand what I did or what I'm supposed to be doing now because, besides being depressed about a bunch of, fish being dead, I already didn't like the setups of how this fish room turned out. I think most of these tanks are going to continue to get torn down at this point. Stick them out in that shed for storage. Maybe sell some of them on Craigslist or whatever. I don't really know because now I'm super bummed. Maybe just keep the 150. Put everybody who's alive in there as a mixed community tank and call it a day. Pufferfish and these guys seem to be doing fine. He's coloring back up, not as dark as he was, which is a good thing. And then at the end of the day, I did get hit with this. Went outside, check out the pond to do another feeding, and for some reason, it's 6 inches lower than where it's supposed to be. In a matter of a couple hours, a whole bunch of water leaked out of it. I can't find where, don't know why. I filled it back up, but in less than 24 hours, everything shit hit the fan. Guys, like, share, subscribe, leave comments. Thanks a bunch.